It all started on a cold winter night, January 8th, 2004. A woman named Hasumi boarded a local train from Shin Hamamatsu Station in Japan's Shizuoka Prefecture. She had done this many times before. Same time, same line, same quiet, predictable ride. Normally, the train would stop every 7 to 8 minutes. It was a short distance route, reliable, ordinary. But that night, something was different. Hasumi sat quietly, looking out the window. 10 minutes passed, then 15, then 20. And still, the train hadn't stopped once. There were no station announcements, no signs of slowing down, no chime, no voice, nothing. She looked around the carriage. There were 5 other passengers all asleep. No one else seemed to notice. She waited, listened, but the train just kept going silently, endlessly into the night. Hasumi took out her phone and opened 2 Channel Japan's biggest anonymous forum at the time. There was a thread dedicated to real-time reporting of strange or unexplained events. She posted, "Maybe it's just my imagination, but something's not right. Can someone hear me out?" A few users responded right away. "What's going on? Are you okay?" She explained, "I'm on a private railway, but this train hasn't stopped in over 20 minutes. Usually it stops every 5 to 8 minutes. Something feels wrong." Someone asked what line she was on. She replied, "It's a local train. I boarded at Shin Hamamatsu. This isn't an express. I take it all the time, but tonight it just keeps going." Another user asked if maybe she was just imagining things, maybe distracted, maybe tired. But Hasumi insisted. She knew this line. This wasn't normal. A few minutes later, she added something new. "I just tried walking to the front of the train. I wanted to check the conductor's cabin, but the window is blacked out. I can't see in. I knocked. No answer." That's when users started paying attention. "You couldn't see anyone inside? You're sure this isn't some late-night express train?" Hasumi replied again, "I'm sure. I've ridden this line for years, and there shouldn't be any tunnel here, but we just went through one." That detail, the tunnel, changed everything. Because that line wasn't supposed to have tunnels. And now it did. At this point, the 2 channel thread was heating up. More people were watching, more people were chiming in. What began as a strange but harmless post was slowly turning into a real-time mystery. Then, Hasumi posted something that made everyone pause. "The train is slowing down. I see a station ahead." Finally, after nearly half an hour, it looked like the train was stopping. She looked out the window to see where she was. There was a platform, dim lights, no people, and one old-fashioned wooden sign. It read, "Kisaragi Station." She froze. She had never heard of it before. There was no Kisaragi Station on the map, not in Shizuoka, not anywhere nearby. She asked the thread, "Should I get off? This station, I've never seen it before." Now the users were divided. Some said, "Get off. This could be your only chance. You might be on the wrong train. You need to get out." But others warned her, "Don't. This could be something else. Something you shouldn't step into. What if this is a ghost train? If you get off, you might not get back." After a long pause, Hasumi posted again, "I got off the train. I'm on the platform now. There's no one here. It's completely empty. I think the train I was on was the 11:40 p.m. departure. It just left, without me." Then came another update. I tried looking for a timetable. There isn't one. No staff, no posters, no vending machines, not even a clock. She had stepped into a place that felt real, but completely wrong. Back on the thread, one user started digging. They typed, "Kisaragi, it's not listed anywhere. I can't find this station, not on the rail system, not on any forum, it doesn't exist." Someone else added, "Kisaragi is a strange name. It's actually the old word for February from the lunar calendar. A month tied to death, coldness, boundaries." And then someone said something that chilled the entire thread. If you write it a certain way, Kisaragi can also mean something else. It can be spelled with the character for demon. Hasumi stood alone on the empty platform of Kisaragi Station. There were no other passengers, no signs, no announcements, and no return train. She waited, watched the tracks. Nothing came. She posted again. "I was hoping to catch the train going back, but it never showed up. There's no timetable, no ticket machines. It's like this place was never meant to send anyone home." She considered getting back on the same train just in case it opened its doors again. But it was already gone. It had vanished into the tunnel, swallowed whole by the darkness behind her. Someone in the thread replied, "Try to leave the station. Look for a road, a taxi, anything." So she did. Hasumi walked out of the gate, if you could even call it a gate. It was more like an opening in a fence. No turnstiles, no station building. Outside, the world was dead silent. No cars, no people, no lights, just trees, a hill, and cold air. "There's nothing here," she typed. "No taxis, no buildings, no vending machines. I can't even find a public phone." Someone suggested she use her phone's GPS. She tried. The app froze, then gave her an error. "It can't find my location." That's when users began to get nervous. Another posted, "Kisaragi, it's starting to sound like something else. If you write it differently, it can mean demon, demon station." Hasumi still had one option: walk along the tracks. If she followed the railway line far enough, maybe she'd get back to a real station, a real town, a real world. "I'm going to follow the tracks back the way I came," she posted. Her phone buzzed. It was her father. She answered, relieved to hear his voice. He had been trying to find her on a map, but just like everyone else, he couldn't. She told him everything about the strange station, the vanishing train, the silent hills. He didn't understand, but he told her to stay calm. And if she couldn't find help, she should call the police. Hasumi hesitated. "How do I explain this?" she wrote to the thread. "What do I even say that I got off at a station that doesn't exist?" But eventually, she made the call. The police didn't believe her. They told her she was wasting their time, that there was no such place, that the location she was describing didn't make sense. She apologized, heart pounding, and hung up. Then she heard it. Far in the distance, the deep, slow rhythm of drums. And in between, the soft jingle of bells. She froze. "I hear something," she posted. "Taiko drums and bells. They're getting louder." Someone on the forum replied, "That's not good. Get away from the sound. Whatever it is, don't follow it." Another user typed something cryptic. "It's starting now." The sound of drums crept closer. Hasumi stayed still, afraid to move. One user wrote, "You need to get back to the station." Another said, "No, don't go back. If you go back, they'll take you." Then she heard something else. A voice. It called out from behind her, "Hey, it's dangerous to walk on the tracks." It was calm, gentle, almost friendly. She turned around instinctively. There, about 30 feet away, was an old man. Standing on one leg. Just one. And then he disappeared. No movement. No sound. Just gone. Hasumi posted, "I just saw someone, an old man, but he only had one leg, then he vanished." The forum exploded. You shouldn't have turned around. That was a spirit, something not human. Run, run now. But Hasumi couldn't. "I can't move," she wrote. "My legs won't respond. I'm frozen, and the drums, they're getting louder." She had walked so far already. Her shoes were ruined. She had fallen earlier, scraped her knees. Her hands were shaking from the cold. And now, it felt like the world was closing in. "I know I'm still alive," she typed. "I can feel the blood. I can feel my heel in my hand. I'm not dead." But something had shifted. She was no longer sure what direction she came from, or where she was headed. Someone suggested, "Look for a tunnel. Follow the tracks. There has to be one nearby." And then she saw it. A black hole carved into the hillside. The tunnel entrance. Above it, a rusted sign. It says, "Isanuki Tunnel," she wrote. No one on the forum had ever heard of it. Not one person could find it on a map. "I'm going in," she said. "I'll post again when I reach the other side." And with that, Hasumi stepped into the tunnel. The sound of drums faded behind her, swallowed by the darkness. For the first few minutes, there was nothing, just gravel under her feet and the damp smell of old stone. The tunnel walls were narrow. There was no lighting. Her footsteps echoed louder than she expected. She didn't say much to the thread, just a brief update. Heading through the tunnel now. Minutes passed. Then, at exactly 3:10 a.m., she posted again. "I'm out. I made it. I think I'm okay." She was outside again, standing at the other end of the tunnel. The air felt different. Softer. Like she had crossed into something quieter than the world she left behind. She looked ahead and saw someone waiting near the track. A man. He was standing calmly, hands in his pockets, beside a parked car. She approached him. He smiled. He told her there was a small town nearby, that she looked tired, that he could give her a ride. Hasumi hesitated. She typed, "There's someone here. He says he'll drive me to the nearest station." Users responded instantly. "Be careful. Why would someone be waiting outside a tunnel at 3 in the morning? That doesn't make sense." But Hasumi didn't reply to the warnings. She had already gotten in the car. They started driving. The road was narrow, winding through what looked like endless forest. No buildings, no houses, no lights, just trees, shadows, and silence. Hasumi messaged, "We're in the mountains. I don't recognize anything." He's quiet now, not saying much. The forum was buzzing. "Ask him where you are. Ask for the name of the town." So she did. And then she posted, "He says we're in a place called Hina, but I've never heard of that." The thread exploded. "That's not near Hamamatsu. That's not even a real town. Get out of the car, something is wrong. The replies came faster now. People begging her to escape. But Hasumi stayed calm. He seems nice. I think he's just a quiet person. She said he offered to take her to a hotel near the station. Some place she could rest. Someplace warm. Then she paused. Her next message was different. He's been muttering to himself for a while now. I can't tell what he's saying. Something about directions, and something I don't understand. That's when the panic started. Get out. Get out of the car right now. He's not who you think he is. Someone posted. Why didn't he ask any questions? Why wasn't he surprised to see you coming out of a tunnel in the middle of nowhere? Wouldn't you be? Hasumi wrote, I don't know what to do. There's no place to stop, just trees and road. I'm thinking of jumping out the next time we slow down. She added, my phone battery's getting low. If I stop responding, thank you, all of you. And then, silence. She didn't answer any more posts, didn't give an update, didn't say goodbye. The thread sat in silence, dozens of users refreshing the page, waiting. Someone posted, this can't be how it ends. Another typed, she was just here. One user wrote, this might be her last message. Save it. Hasumi never returned to the thread. Her last message was a thank you. And then, silence. No final goodbye. No confirmation she escaped. Just a girl on a train that shouldn't exist, stepping deeper into a world that didn't want to let her go. The forum stayed active for hours. Some users refreshed the page non-stop, hoping for a new post, but none came. Eventually, someone said what no one else wanted to admit. This is over. She's gone. Some believed it had all been a hoax. A brilliant, real-time horror performance. The pacing, the tension, it was too perfect. They said it was just a writer testing a story on an anonymous crowd. Maybe. But others weren't so sure. Because something about the way she typed, the uncertainty, the pauses, the messy panic, it didn't feel scripted. It felt real. And more than that, there were details no one could explain. For one, the timing. Hasumi boarded the train a little after 11 p.m. By the time she vanished, it was nearly 4 in the morning. But that railway line? It should have taken less than 30 minutes from start to end. Where did the extra 4 hours go? And then there was the station itself. Kisaragi, a name that, in the old Japanese calendar, means February, a cold, quiet, transitional month. But some say, if you spell it differently, it can also mean demon. The demon station. A place that doesn't exist on any map, but sometimes appears to people when they're alone, exhausted, emotionally hollow. And here's where the story gets stranger. In the days after Hasumi disappeared, other users came forward. They claimed they'd seen the station too. One said, when I was a kid, our train stopped in the middle of nowhere. The conductor refused to explain. I remember seeing a sign that said, Kisaragi. My parents told me it was just a dream. Another said, I used to live near the mountains in Shizuoka. At night, we sometimes heard drums coming from the hills. Same pattern she described, same timing. Some believe Kisaragi Station is not a place but a trap, a spiritual snare, something that pulls in the lonely, the lost, the people no one will come looking for right away. And then came one final thread. Years later, on a different forum, long after Hasumi's story faded, a new user posted something chilling. They said they were hiking near an abandoned railway route in the mountains of Shizuoka. No signs, no fences, just rusted track hidden beneath the weeds. They followed it out of curiosity. It led to a tunnel old, cracked, nearly swallowed by time. Inside, they found a crumbling platform. An old wooden sign, so decayed the lettering had almost vanished. Almost. Because if you looked closely, just under the rot, you could still make out the faint outline of 3 worn characters. Kisaragi Station. So what really happened to Hasumi? Was she just a name on a screen telling a story? Or was she something else? A person who took the wrong train at the wrong time and slipped into a version of Japan the rest of us can't see? A place that exists in the quiet spaces between tunnels, between sleep and waking, between the world that's real and the one that isn't. You don't have to believe it. There's no proof, no evidence, just an old forum thread and a name that keeps showing up where it shouldn't. But they say it happened, and sometimes that's enough.